This is everything we know about Agnes Crumplebottom. Agnes Crumplebottom was first introduced in the Hot Date expansion pack for The Sims, released in November of 2001. The game largely refers to her as Miss Crumplebottom, and as an NPC, she fancies herself an enforcer of Victorian-era purity standards. If she sees a sim in swimwear or performing romantic interactions, she will intervene and scold, smack, or beat the offending sim with her purse. When she's not assaulting your sims, she engages in a number of routines, including playing chess, dancing, playing piano, and eating ice cream. The Crumplebottom family name may be a reference to her uptight behavior, implying that if she sees nearby sims act inappropriately, she would have her bottom in a crumple. The Crumplebottom name may also have a history with prunes, a fruit known for its effects on bowel function. A prune tree that has been altered so it doesn't produce prunes exists in buy mode called the Crumplebottom prune tree, leading some to speculate that the family has a bad history with the fruit. Agnes is a little on the buggy side as an NPC, as she sometimes contradicts herself. For example, she will sometimes go on dates with other NPCs despite her adverse reaction to romance. Agnes wears a gray button-up overcoat, matching shoes, pearl earrings, a pearl necklace, and a small gray hat with a tiny flower pin. In the official Prima strategy guide for The Sims, Miss Crumplebottom is said to be the widow of a philanthropist and puppeteer named Robert Crumplebottom. The guide states, "Old Mrs. Crumplebottom is the widow of famed philanthropist and puppeteer Robert Crumplebottom. She spends her twilight years roaming the streets and shops of downtown, complaining about newfangled ways and loudly protesting the conduct of the latest generation of Sims. Nothing gets her goat faster than a public display of affection. Her radar spots a kiss a mile away. If your Sims are getting fresh anywhere near the old prude, expect a thrashing from her purse in short order." Interestingly, the Prima Guide calls her Mrs. Crumplebottom in this quote, but the game calls her Miss Crumplebottom. It should also be noted Robert is likely Agnes's second husband, and he took her surname when they married. The item description for the Crumplebottom chandelier from The Sims Vacation says that it is a recreation of a chandelier that was created by Robert to be used as a stage prop, until it famously fell 2 stories, crushing him in the process. In The Sims 2, Agnes is deceased and is buried in the Goth graveyard. This is because her sister is Cornelia Goth, Mortimer Goth's mother. But someone else has taken on her role. There's a new Mrs. Crumplebottom in town, a woman whose true name we never learn, but is said to be a distant relative who dresses and behaves nearly identically to Miss Crumplebottom. Agnes and Cornelia's father, Simon, is also buried in the Goth family graveyard, but the grave of their mother Prudence is nowhere to be found. The game does imply that there are more family members in the Crumplebottom family, but their identities are not revealed, that is, until The Sims 3. The world of Sunset Valley in The Sims 3 is set roughly 50 years before the events of The Sims 2. Agnes is a young widow in The Sims 3. Her bio reads, "Agnes Crumplebottom hadn't even changed her last name into her husband's when an unfortunate accident on her honeymoon ended their marriage. Between her growing bitterness and her husband's ghost scaring away gentleman callers, only the bravest Sim would ever try to win her heart and fortune now." Loading into Agnes's house also reveals that she and Eric were planning on having a child, as the couple had started building a nursery but never got to finish. Agnes has skills in cooking and painting and will often have wishes to join the medical career. Her design is largely inspired by fashion trends of the 1940s, including Betty Bangs, Oxford shoes with stiletto heels, and her short trench dress. Her only living nearby family is her sister Cornelia Goth, with whom she's good friends. The graves of Simon and Prudence Crumplebottom are both present in the Goth family graveyard. Despite not having a job, Agnes appears to be living quite comfortably in her modern home, implying she married into money with Eric. 3 more members of the Crumplebottom family are introduced in The Sims 3 Supernatural, a trio of sister witches named Beatrice, Belinda, and Bianca. These sisters live in a Victorian-era manor and appear to be a parody of or inspired by the Hallowell sisters from the TV show Charmed. Agnes Crumplebottom returns in The Sims 4 Cottage Living. She's back to her elderly self, wearing her classic gray button-up overcoat and tiny gray hat, and enforcing her puritanical beliefs with her purse. Agnes and her cousin Agatha run a garden shop together, but cannot be found living in any of the houses in Henford-on-Bagley. She can often be found cross-stitching when she's not working at the garden shop. Her default emotion is angry instead of fine because of a hidden moodlet called I'm Always Angry that gives her a +2 anger buff at all times. She will lose her NPC behavior if added to the player household, but that behavior can be temporarily re-enabled by using cheats. Agnes's cousin Agatha is her polar opposite, known for being chipper and sweet. Her default emotion is playful instead of fine, and she's an expert gardener who tends to be flirty with other Sims. She did, however, kind of come out of nowhere, and although the game says she's Agnes's cousin, we aren't exactly sure where Agatha sits on the family tree. Maybe this will be revealed in the future. If the player Sim has a good relationship with Agnes, they can have a Henford heart-to-heart with her, where she will discuss her relation to the Goth family, as well as her past relationships with Robert Crumplebottom and Eric Darling. The Sims 4 Horse Ranch introduces a character named Roberto Crinkletop, a Sim with a name unusually similar to the name of Agnes's second husband. Roberto has the special title of Mysterious Rancher, and he serves as a special vendor for players to sell nectar to at a higher than market price, similar to Flick from Animal Crossing. Also, like Flick, he shows up when he shows up. Players have no way of contacting him outside of seeing him out and about in the town of Chestnut Ridge. This is because, unlike other Sims, Roberto does not appear in managed households and does not live in or move into a house during gameplay. Roberto also happens to know a special recipe for Vitality Nectar, which reverses aging for Sims, but also has the power to revive the dead when consumed by a ghost. In a cinematic posted by the Sims to their social media channels, it is revealed that Roberto Crinkletop is Robert Crumplebottom, and if the player Sim has a good relationship with Roberto, he may confirm this himself. Robert was apparently unhappy in his relationship with Agnes, and in this cinematic, she is shown scolding him for some unknown reason before he ultimately fakes his death with a chandelier and runs away on horseback. Robert appears to have lived for decades in hiding as Roberto, and at the end of that cinematic, he's seen fleeing on his horse when Agnes unexpectedly arrives at the Chestnut Ridge Dance Hall.